Husband abandoned me while I was 8 months pregnant. His family and friends are harassing me, and I had to move across the country alone to protect my baby. I honestly never thought I'd be here writing this, but I'm at the lowest point of my life, and I don't even recognize the person I married anymore. My name is Ava, 28F, and my soon-to-be ex-husband is Levi, 33M. We've been together for a decade, married for 5 years, and I'm currently 9 months pregnant with our first child, a baby that we planned, a baby we were both excited for, or at least I thought we were. Now I'm sitting in my parents' house in my hometown, surrounded by moving boxes and maternity clothes, trying to piece together how my marriage unraveled in just a matter of weeks. Let me back up. I met Levi when I was 18 and he was 23. I was in college. He had just started his career in tech. He was charming, smart, and for lack of a better word, magnetic. He had this way of making me feel like the most important person in the world. My friends used to tease me that I had puppy dog eyes every time I looked at him, and honestly, they weren't wrong. We dated all through college. When I graduated, he convinced me to move back to his hometown, San Diego. I'm originally from a bigger city in the Midwest. At first, I was nervous about leaving everything behind, but I loved Levi, and I believed in our future. I told myself that relationships are about compromise, and if moving was what it took, then I'd do it. And in the beginning, it was good. We built a life together. We bought a house, our house. I put down the down payment with my savings, but it was always our dream home. We hosted barbecues, decorated for holidays, had movie nights where we stayed up too late laughing. For years, I believed I was living in a love story. Fast forward, we got married 5 years ago. Our wedding was small but beautiful, surrounded by people who swore we were couple goals. My parents adored him. Even after their messy divorce, they agreed on one thing, that Levi was good for me. And then, last year, after so many years of trying and waiting, we decided we were ready to start a family. When I got pregnant, Levi cried. He actually cried. He kissed my belly, talked to it, made playlists for the baby. He said things like, "This is the best thing that's ever happened to us." So imagine my shock when, a few weeks ago, when I was 8 months pregnant, swollen, exhausted, and dreaming of nursery colors, Levi sat me down and told me he was filing for divorce. Levi didn't even ease into it. We were sitting in the living room, me on the couch with my swollen ankles propped up, him pacing like he couldn't get the words out fast enough. He finally stopped, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, "Ava, I don't want to be tied down anymore. I'm still young. I need to live my life." At first, I laughed. I thought he was joking. Who says something like that when their wife is 8 months pregnant? But the look on his face told me he wasn't kidding. My whole body went cold. I asked him if he was serious, if there was someone else. He swore up and down that there wasn't, that he just couldn't do this anymore. But you don't go from crying tears of joy over a pregnancy to walking out on your family in a matter of weeks unless there's something. And sure enough, I later found out he's already been seeing someone. But in that moment, all I could think about was the baby, our baby. I asked him how he could abandon me now when I needed him the most. He said I'd figure it out, that I was strong, that I didn't need him. Oh, but apparently he still needed the house. Because when I reminded him that I was the one who put the down payment on it, his first reaction was, "Well, technically, we both live here. You can just move out. Just move out." Like I was some roommate who overstayed my welcome. Not his wife. Not the mother of his child. I told him flat out I wasn't leaving. Not when it was my money that had secured the house in the first place. So he packed a bag that night and went to stay with his buddy Lewis. He left me, his pregnant wife, alone in that house. And then the messages started. His family, his friends, even some of our mutual friends. Text after text, DM after DM, saying things like, "Levi told us you're trying to keep the baby from him. You're really moving back home just to hurt him? He's the father. You can't just erase him from the picture." Erase him? He erased himself. He's the one who walked out. Meanwhile, I'm staring at cribs, diapers, and baby monitors, wondering how the hell I'm going to raise a child in a city with no family, no support, and a husband who thinks his freedom is more important than his baby. After Levi left, the silence in that house was unbearable. Every corner reminded me of him. The kitchen where we used to cook together, the nursery we'd started painting, the bed I now slept in alone. And every reminder cut deeper because I knew this was supposed to be the happiest time of my life. But instead of love and excitement, I was drowning in betrayal and fear. I tried to push through. I told myself I could make it work. I have a great job. I make good money, more than most people my age. But San Diego isn't forgiving. Rent, food, childcare, everything stacked against me. Sure, I could make it work, but that wasn't the kind of life I wanted to bring my baby into. And the truth is, I didn't want to just survive. I wanted my baby to thrive. So I made the hardest and easiest decision of my life. I was moving home. My family didn't even hesitate. The moment I told my parents, they swooped in like a team of superheroes. And believe me, my parents agreeing on anything is a miracle. They're divorced, they can't stand each other, but now, their one common goal is making sure I never have to rely on Levi again. They found me a rental house back in my hometown. A beautiful place, more than enough for me and the baby. They paid the deposit themselves and told me to save my money. Use it for your next house, Ava, my mom said. They hired me a divorce lawyer. They covered my doctor's copays until my insurance switched over. They promised me I wouldn't go through this alone. My mom even offered to watch the baby after my maternity leave so I could keep working. For the first time since Levi dropped his bombshell, I felt safe. Not happy, not yet, but safe. Of course, Levi didn't see it that way. The moment he found out I was leaving, he lost it. He accused me of trying to take his baby away. He told everyone that I was moving to get the upper hand in custody. He told me I was ruining his life and manipulating the system. But here's the thing, I didn't move to punish him. I moved to protect myself and our child. The fact that it might also work in my favor custody-wise, that's just reality. When I told him I'd be filing for child support once the baby was born, he snapped. He said, "Make up your mind, Ava. Do you want me to be a dad or not?" I told him the truth. He's going to be a dad whether he likes it or not. Either he steps up and actually fathers this child, or he pays support. Those are the only two options left. And deep down, I think he hates that more than anything, that he no longer gets to run the show. The messages started almost immediately after Levi found out I was moving. First it was him, calling, texting, blowing up my phone at all hours, accusing me of trying to erase him from our child's life, saying I was vindictive and cold for leaving when I knew he couldn't just pick up and move for work. Then it spread. His mom, his sister, his friends, even some of our mutual friends. They flooded me with guilt trips and accusations. How could you keep Levi's baby from him? You're destroying his chance at being a father. You're running away because you're bitter. Your baby deserves a father. Every message was like a dagger, not because I believed them, but because I realized how far Levi was willing to go to paint himself as the victim. He walked out on me while I was 8 months pregnant. He chose to stay with his buddy Lewis instead of supporting his wife. He decided freedom mattered more than his family. And yet somehow, I was the villain. The worst part? Some of these people weren't just his friends, they were ours. People who had come to our house, eaten at our table, celebrated with us when we announced the pregnancy. People I thought would see through his lies. But instead, they swallowed every word. It hurt. I won't lie. Sitting there with swollen ankles, packing up baby clothes into boxes for the move, while my phone buzzed nonstop with hate, it made me feel like I was completely alone. But then I remembered, I wasn't. My family was waiting for me back home. My parents were tag-teaming lawyers and doctors like they'd been preparing for this their whole lives. My mom was setting up a nursery in the new rental house, insisting I send her paint samples. My dad was already talking about stroller brands. For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than anger and fear. I felt grounded, and I realized something important. Levi could scream and slander all he wanted. His friends and family could send all the cruel messages in the world. But none of them could stop me from doing what I knew was right for my baby. I wasn't keeping Levi from being a father. He was doing that all on his own. At some point, I just stopped answering. The texts, the calls, the endless guilt trips. I let them pile up like junk mail. I muted group chats, blocked the worst offenders, and left Levi's number on silent. Because the truth hit me like a lightning bolt one night while I was sitting on the floor, folding baby onesies. Levi wasn't trying to be a father. He was trying to control me. If he wanted to step up, he would have done it months ago. He wouldn't have abandoned his pregnant wife to play bachelor with his buddy. He wouldn't have made me beg for a ride to the doctor. He wouldn't have ignored every chance I gave him to show up. No, He only started fighting once I decided to leave, because in his mind, losing me was worse than losing our child. That was when the fog finally cleared. I wasn't the villain. I wasn't the selfish one. I wasn't taking anything away from him. I was protecting myself and my baby. So I shifted my focus. Instead of wasting energy on Levi and his army of flying monkeys, I threw myself into preparing for motherhood. I worked with my parents to finalize the move. I set up the nursery with my mom over FaceTime, crying happy tears as she showed me the crib they'd ordered. I started therapy, and for the first time, I could breathe without guilt crushing my chest. Every kick, every hiccup, every little roll inside my belly reminded me why I had to stay strong. This baby deserved stability, love, and a safe home, not a father who treated parenthood like a punishment. The day I finally left town, I didn't even tell Levi. I just got in the car, belly pressed against the steering wheel, and drove toward my new beginning. And for the first time in months, I felt free. I thought leaving town would end the drama. But Levi wasn't done. 2 days after I arrived at my parents' house, my phone blew up again. He'd found out I left. Dozens of messages, voicemails, and angry rants poured in. "You're kidnapping my child. I'll take you to court and make sure you lose custody. You think you can run from me? You can't." And then came the family. His mother wrote a long, teary message about how I was tearing apart their bloodline and robbing her of her first grandchild. His cousin called me a gold digger. Even Lewis, his drinking buddy, sent me a smug text. "You're gonna regret this. Levi deserves better." I stared at the screen, shaking, until my dad walked into the room and took the phone from my hands. He read a few lines, his jaw tightening, and then said the most grounding words I'd heard in weeks. "Block them. Every single one. If Levi wants to play games, he can play them with a judge, not with you." So I did. I blocked them all. For the first time, the noise stopped. Levi tried one last time, through his lawyer. A threatening letter demanding I move back, accusing me of parental alienation. My attorney laughed when she read it. "He doesn't have a case. Judges don't look kindly on men who abandon their pregnant wives." That was the final blow. Levi realized he couldn't control me anymore. And in that silence, I finally found peace. I set up my new life piece by piece. Doctor's appointments where my mom held my hand. Long walks with my dad where he promised my baby would never go without. A nursery filled with soft light, tiny clothes, and hope. Levi may have walked away, but I wasn't alone. My baby and I were surrounded by love, and that was worth more than anything he could ever offer. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe Levi will come around. Maybe he won't. But one thing is certain. I'm not afraid anymore. Because I chose peace. I chose stability. I chose us. And that will always be enough. And that's the story. If you've made it this far, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.